I suppose I should say something about the Russian coup that almost happened, or that was alleged to have almost happened over the last few days. It is a pretty dramatic story, but I mean, I hesitated to comment on it because I don't know. I didn't really know what I could add to anything. You know, I think what did stand out to me is one of the things that's annoying about the current age of social media, where everybody's got a voice and everybody's got a platform, unless they've decided that you are not deserving of a platform and must be deplatformed. But most everybody, unless you differ with the World Health Organization on a certain medical procedure, just about everybody else is able to say what they want to say, and they even kind of lightened their they haven't been cracking the whip so much on those kinds of matters lately either. So it's still not a free speech zone by any means, but anyway, people are talking. People over the last few days were talking a lot, yakking and saying this and saying that, and I was just thinking, like, how do you know this? How in the world do you know this? You're saying this so confidently. You're declaring this as if it were just obvious. It should be obvious to anybody, and if you don't believe it, or if you're not sure about it, then you're just, I don't know, stupid or brainwashed or whatever. Like, for example, I mean, I heard people saying things from the very start that, oh, this is not a real coup. This was a fake coup, and this mercenary guy, I can't pronounce his name, but the Wagner Group, or the Wagner Group, strange name for a Russian organization, by the way, for a Russian group of mercenaries. I had never heard of them, but I until a few days ago. But apparently they play a major role in the Russian military. This mercenary group, and I'd heard it said, well, there was never really anything. There was never really any attempted coup. This was just, in fact, something that was cooked up by the Wagner guy and Putin in the Kremlin, just in an effort to flush out some the traitors. So, in other words, they pulled this coup. They said this coup was happening, and then they kept watch and saw who was going to go along with it, and then they took those names down and marked them down as traitors, and that was the whole point of the thing. It seems really disruptive if that's if they did that. It seems like if while you're in the middle of fighting a war, it seems like it's counterproductive. But who knows? Those inscrutable Russians, who knows what they're up to? We can't trust them. They're up to no good. A group of schemers and intriguers, and or is that a different ethnic group that I'm talking about now? Anyway, that's what some people were saying about the Russians, and what they were really up to. And then I also heard lots of people saying, oh, well, there was just like this overconfidence about, like, on the part of all the antis, all the NATO bots, all of the NATO stands out there, all of the Zelensky meat riders. That's such a charming term, meat rider. That's just, it's so delicate, and it just captures the charm of the state of discourse today. Oh, you're just a meat rider. So they were all saying, oh, well, this is it. This is lights out. It's lights out. Ha ha ha. It's lights out for Putin and the Russians, and they're rubbing their hands together and then, there's nobody was having this wait and see attitude. Nobody was saying, well, let's just see how this develops, What were some of the things they were saying? They were saying it was a distraction. This was just a distraction from other things because, God, I'm a board certified conspiracy theorist. I have my conspiracy theorist badge. So it's not like I'm not on the conspiracy theorist team, but something that I really tire of is this whole idea, well, why is this in the news? This is only in the news. We're only talking about this because they don't want us to talk about that. And again, you say that with such, like you just know. Like that's like you see behind the machinations and what's really going on. What do we know? All we know is what we're being told, and we don't know if what we're being told is true or not, right? So it's always good to have a healthy bit of skepticism about everything, but I don't know, just to assume or just to say, yep, this is definitely it. Or that's definitely it. This is definitely happening. That's definitely happening. It just seemed really kind of silly to me. Now, that all said, now that the event has apparently dissipated and the hubbub is over and things are sort of back to normal, more or less, here's something I do find to be credible, I find it to be a credible notion, and that is that this coup, this supposed coup, this coup attempt, whatever it was real, and that it had backing, and it had backing from outside influences. I think that seems to me to be something that one could conclude as probable. Now, I don't I can't make connections necessarily. There's no smoking gun that proves this. But if this is a mercenary group, mercenaries, what do? They're when you talk about being mercenary or having a mercenary attitude, you don't have any loyalty above who's paying you the most. That's why mercenary is, when somebody being called mercenary or somebody being categorized as a mercenary is usually not a flattering thing to say about them. It means they aren't really loyal to anyone except who will give them the most in return. So it seems like if this organization that has played such a role in the Russian military, and it's maybe done some dirty work for them. I mean, I'm thinking that might be likely that's happened. Maybe doing things that the regular army wouldn't do. But if they're mercenaries, then that means that they're all about the money, and that somebody out there who's paying them who pays them enough to say stage a coup, that might make some dent, that might have some effect upon what they eventually end up doing. So just a thought, just an idea, I don't know. But for the most part, I think everybody should just chill a little bit more when stuff goes on, when an event like this happens in the world, and all we know is what we're being told You should definitely not go to the Lugan Press, the Western Lugan Press. They have no track record of being truthful when it comes to Russia, in particular. So that was why I stuck with RT. Now you can say RT's is a state affiliated group, a Russian state affiliated media outlet. So of course they're going to have their bias as well. Nevertheless, I trusted them more because it seemed like they would more likely have represent the truth than the Western media outlets, which are all bought off by the powers that be and by NATO and the CIA, and they're not going to challenge these groups. These groups own them. This is for all intents and purposes, the Western media, the mainstream media, the legacy media, whatever you call it, the Lugan Press, I like to call it, that quaint old word. They are for all intents and purposes state media. So but they're corporate media. They represent the establishment. They represent the ones who are trying to shape the policy, who are trying to shape our minds to be a certain way. And so I inherently don't trust them, and I mostly don't read them or watch them. Anyway, those are just a few thoughts. Let me know if you've got any comments. Leave them below. Thanks for watching.